Hi, everyone. If you can hear me, just put it on the chat box that you can hear me. If you can type, that means you can join. All right, thank you very much. The person saying I can't join, if you can type, that means that you have already joined. All right, so I'm going to start sharing my screen now. Now I believe that you can see my screen. Can you all see my screen? Can you see the PowerPoint? If you can see it, say yes. All right. So, yeah, you are welcome to the SQL class. And I believe that we've had a good Sunday today. So, I'm going to be introducing us to SQL and as well how we can set up MySQL on our system, because I know that some of us are having some challenges with it. So let's make a start. So these are the presentation outline. We start with what is database, the general database terms, components of a database. Then we look at the structure query language, which is SQL that we want to do, and talk about the relational database management system. And lastly, we look at how we can set up MySQL on our systems. So let's make a start. Now, the reason why I'm starting like this is because I know that some of us does not have a computer science background. We don't have a statistics background and stuff like that. We don't have a background that has to do with tech. And so that's why I am starting this way. And I'm going to explain it in a very, very simple form that every one of us can understand. So what is a database? And we can see a database is an organized collection of data that is stored and managed in a structured way to enable easy access, retrieval, modification, and use. So no matter who you are, either you are a student or you are working, if you are a student, your school has a database. That means that they hold your database. If you are working, your place of work, they also have a database where they store the database of the employees, they store the database of the staffs, they store the database of their customers. So that is what database is all about. So everybody uses database, either a company, a school, an industry, or an organization. So databases are used to store information, just like I've said, customer records, sales data, financial transactions, and the likes. So when you look at banks, they have your database, and Nigeria also has your database. But the challenge with Nigerian database is that it's not as serious as other database. So let me move on. What are the general database terms? So I've designed what database is. Then we have database management system. You need to understand what database management system is. Now, example of database management system include Oracle, MySQL is what we use to manage a database. That is a management system, what we use to manage a database. So for example, now, all those things that I've sent to the WhatsApp groups are what I expect, are what MySQL is what we are going to use to manage the database. You remember day before yesterday, I told you to download a database, a query, sorry, so that you can load the database today. So I deliberately did that so that you can have that database. So you can create, query, update, and admit data. That is what a database management is. Now for schema, the schema is a blueprint of a database which determines the tables, the fields, the relationship, the indexes, and the constraints. So you have tables, you have fields, you have relationship. When we get to practical, we explain what a schema is properly to you. Then instance is a specific version or copy of database that is running on a system. And as well, you know what a query is. A query is used to a request that is made to a database to retrieve or manipulate data using usually written in SQL. So, and that's why SQL is structure query language. So what are the components of a database? You have what we know as a table, and a table is a collection of related data that is organized in rows and columns in a relational database. That is what a table is. Then we have what we know as row. So a row is a single complete set of related data entries in a table. For example, a row in a customer table may represent one customer. So when we get to that, I will explain that. Then for a column, it's just the normal column, a single piece of data that can hold data. So you can have a column for customer name. You can have a column for customer email address. You can have a column for student's name, student's matric number, and the likes. Now, we need to define what a primary key is. So what is primary key? A primary key is a unique identifier for a record. That is, no two rows can have the same primary key. I will explain primary key as if you're a student, you have a matric number, and your matric number, nobody is unique. Nobody has it. Your matric number is unique to you. Till you leave that school, even if you leave, they can't give your matric number to anybody else. And if you are in a working class, you have a unique identifier employee record, employee number. That employee number is your unique identifier. So in a database, that is what we refer to as primary key. So I believe you understand what primary key is now. So it is what uniquely identifies you. So why can't we use a name? I remember when I was on campus, I have a friend that bears the same name, the same first name, the same second name, and the same third name. They bear the same. So that's why names cannot be used as primary key. So it's only numbers that uniquely identifies people that can be used as primary key. So now for foreign key, so foreign key is a column in one table that establishes a link to a primary key in another table. So let me give you an example now. If we have a table that has to do with customer details, such as the customer number, customer email address, and we have another table that deals with products, which is the product name, the product price. So there has to be a field that link both the product and the customer table, and that field is known as the foreign key. So if we have a customer ID in the product table, the customer ID in the product table is the foreign key, because we say that the customer bought this product. Don't worry, when we get to practical, you will understand better. But I need to establish all these things to us. Then a database structure, index. Now for index is a database structure that improves the speed of data retrieval operation on a table at the cost of additional storage and maintenance. So now, what is structure query language? That is SQL, is a standard programming language specifically designed for managing, querying, and manipulating relational database. It allows users to interact with database by performing operations such as retrieving, updating, inserting, and deleting data. So that is what SQL is. So we can use SQL to retrieve, to update, to insert, and also to delete. So, but for this course, because it's not advanced, majorly what we are going to be doing is majorly retrieving. At the end of this introduction, I will give us the course outline so that we can know everything that we are going to be doing. So now these are all the relational databases that we have, the relational database management system that we have. We have the MySQL. So the reason why we are using MySQL to manage, to practice, is because it is free. And that's why you can download it on your system. So for most organizations, they use Progress SQL. In my organization, we use Microsoft SQL Server. Where I was working before, we use Oracle database. And some people use SQLite. So all these database management systems, they are expensive to manage. And the only free one is MySQL. And so that is why we are using MySQL to practice. And that is why I told you to download some of those things. So because some of you are having issues with downloading and installing, and I gave you this site, I believe that you can see the site up there. That is www.mysql.com/downloads. So when you click on that, it will bring you to this page. And when it brings you to this page, then you go down. When you scroll down, you will see My Community GPL downloads. So you click on the My Community GPL downloads. I want to encourage you, listen first. You can go back to this video if you're having challenge to install it. You can go back to this video. I'm going to share this video between 24 to 48 hours on my YouTube channel. So listen so that you will understand. So go to the downward part here, MySQL Community GPL downloads. So when you go here, then it will bring you here, which is MySQL Community download. And you will scroll down, then you will now click on MySQL installer for Windows. MySQL installer for Windows. So when you click on MySQL installer for Windows, it will take you here. Now, you can use either of the options. If you have a good internet, choose the first option. And if you don't have a good internet, then choose the second option, which means that you are going to download it, then now install it. The first option is to install it online. So they are both the same thing. So this is what you will see. So you can download it either depending on the network you have. But I will suggest that you go with the second option. That is a recommendation from me if your network is not okay. So when you go there, when you scroll down, when you click on that, you will see, do you want to log in or sign up? You don't need to log in or sign up. Just scroll down, you will see, no thanks, just start my download. And your download is going to start. So when your download starts and it finished downloading, go to your download, click on the MySQL installer, then click on yes. Do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? Click on yes. Then after you have clicked on yes, it will bring you to this page. So choosing to set up type. So to set up type, you will click on custom. You will click on custom. You have server only, client only, full. Ensure that you are only clicking on custom. Then you click on next. So after you have clicked on next, it will take you to this page. Now you see how the way I set up this. Ensure that the config type is development computer. Ensure that now the pipe name is MySQL. Memory name is MySQL as well. Just the way I have it here, that's the way you should do it. And click on next. So when you click on next, you will see this page. Ensure that is the first option that you pick, which is use a strong password. Use a strong password encryption for authentication. So when you click on that, then click on next. So you now set up a password. Ensure that you remember the password that you set. I think it has to be up to more than 10. more than 10 characters. So when you set up the password, then click on next. Then you come here, you have to type the password again, the password you set the other time. So when you click on, then you click on OK. So when you click on OK, it will take you to the Windows Server name, which is MySQL 80. So when it takes you here, then just pick System, Standard System Accounts and click on Next. So when you click on Next, just click on Execute. So execute, we execute everything for you. The execute will execute everything for you. Wait for it to finish executing. Then you come to this page, which is the MySQL Server 8.0.41. Then click on Next. Then you can click on Copy Log to Clipboard and also tick on MySQL Workbench after setup and click on Finish. So when you click on Finish, then the password you created the other time, you have to type the password here, then click on OK. Then it will bring you to this page, which is the MySQL Workbench, So if you are having any issues with what I've just demonstrated now, you shouldn't have any issues while you are downloading it and while you are working on it. So ensure that you select MySQL Workbench and also MySQL Server while you are extracting it. Then it will open this MySQL Workbench for you. So let me quickly run through the outline for this course. So while you are extracting, just like I said, don't forget, you are extracting MySQL Workbench and you are extracting MySQL Server. Those two things are very, very important when you are extracting it. So week 1, which is what we are doing now, is the introduction to SQL and database, that is familiarizing ourselves with SQL. And I've already done that. And possibly, if time permits, we might write just a simple query and you'll see what I'm talking about. So for week 2, we look at how we can filter and sort our data. Week 3 is aggregation and grouping of data. Then week 4 is joining of tables. Week 5, we continue the joining of tables. Week 6 is subqueries and nested queries. Week 7 is advanced SQL functions. And week 8 is advanced SQL functions 2. So that is what we are going to be treating for this course. So while we still have a little bit of time, so let me open the MySQL Workbench, because if you have finished the extraction, then now you will see this was what I set up here the other time, and I put my password there. So let me try to open it. So if I open it, this is what I'm going to get. Now, the other time, I told you that I sent something to the group that you should save it on your system. But let me first of all familiarize you with this environment. So you have file, view, query, database, server, tools. The first thing you need to understand is if you want to save a script, this is how to save a script. You click on this, save a script. If you want to execute a query, this is how you execute a query. And if you want to execute the statement under the keyboard cursor, this is how you execute it. Here, it was limited to 1,000 rows, but this was limited so that your system will not crash if you are loading a lot of database. So that is what it will only view, but you can change it here. It does not matter. I can change it to no limits. I can change it here to no limits. It doesn't matter. But it's to protect your system so that your system doesn't crash, especially when you are using a system that the RAM is so low. So now, when you have finished the extraction and MySQL Workbench has loaded, you need to bring what I told you to download on your system. You need to bring it to your system, and you need to bring it out here. So you go to File and go to Open SQL Scripts. So you need to know where you downloaded the SQL scripts that I sent 2 days ago, if you're on the WhatsApp group. So this is the SQL script, which is employees. So click on it, then click on Open. So this will open the SQL scripts. So what we want to do here is to load the database of the SQL scripts. So let me execute it now. So you will click on Execute, and that will execute the database for you. So when you look down here, you will see running. You will see that running is here. So it is our database is running at the moment. So when it finishes running, it will say that the database has finished running for us. It's going to give us that the database has finished running, but at the moment it is still running. So let's wait for a little bit of time till it finishes running. So it's still running at the moment. So what we are trying to do here, what we are trying to do with the SQL scripts is to create the database on our system. So if you want to practicalize everything that I'm going to teach you, then you need to download that script. When you download that script, execute this script on your system so that you can be able to see it. So while we are waiting for the system to run, let me see if I can see any one of us that has asked any question, because it's still running and it's supposed to show run if it has finished running. Okay, it has finished running now. You can see that everything is green and our database has loaded. Now, to confirm that our database has loaded, on my right here, you will see administration and schemas. Don't forget that I explained what schemas is to us the other time. I said schemas are the combination of tables, rows, and columns. So let me click on schemas here. Now, the name of our database is employees, but here you will not see it here. So you need to refresh up here. So when you refresh up here, it will bring it out, which is what? Employees. So here you can look at all the tables that are in your database. So these are all the tables that are in our database. You can view the stored procedures, the functions, although the views we are not going to get here. So majorly what we'll be using is this database. And these are the tables that we are going to be using, which is department emp, department manager, employees table, salaries, and titles. Now let's try to write a single script. And if you want to do a single script, so all you need to do is to come here and open a new SQL. So let's say, now this is our table. Don't forget that this is our tables, department manager, employees, and salary. So select. Now, SQL is not case sensitive, so you can use it anyhow. But for good coding, you have to be consistent in your typing. So the star here means that I want to select all. So select from is the word English. So I want to select from all the table departments, the departments, whatever, the departments table. So I want to know all the columns. I want to see all the records. So I'm going to execute it now. Now you can see that I put a semicolon here. So let me execute it. So you can see it has a department number, it has a department name. So again, let me also run department depth. The start there is that the start here is select all. That is the start there. Select all. That is what the star is doing. That it will select all for me. So here you can see, I also said it should select. So this is all what department employee is. Now, if I want to select just one column from this, I can say emp num. That is the employee number. That's the only column that I want to select. Then I will run it again. You will see that it's only going to give me the employee number alone. You can see it's only giving me the employee number alone. So it's when I want all the columns, when I want the table to return all the columns, that is when I use the star. So that's the first thing you need to note. If you want to return all the tables, you use the star. So let me also put depth manager and run. So you can see we have the employee number, the department number from date to date. Then let's check for employees. So we have employee number, we have the birth date, the first name, the last name, the gender, and the hiring date. So this is just like the database for an organization, but they are not real database. They are just a database that was copied online. They are not real database. So if I want to select only the first name, if I want to select the first name and the last name, so I will say first name. Now, for good coding practice, you can copy the field name here and come and paste it here so that you will not make a mistake. Then click on this, then right click, copy field name. So you can see, comma, select first name, last name from employees. So let me run it now. So you can see it's going to give me just the first name and the last name. So let's check that of salaries. Let's check all the columns. Let's return all the columns. So you can see employee number, salary from date to date. So let's assume that I don't want the salary to come out. I just want the employee number. Maybe your manager told you that I want to see the employee number of from one and they are from the date they join and the date they are at the moment. Maybe that's what your manager wants. So employee number from dates to dates. So I've excluded salary since he didn't tell me that he wants salary column. Then I will run it. You can see that it comes out. So then again, we have select star from titles because we have 6 tables there. So I want to run through all the 6 tables so that we can see how they look like. So you can see here again, we have the employee number, we have the title, we have the date. Now you can see that for most of these tables, the employee number is constant. So the employee numbers are the primary key for all the table because the employee numbers are different. Somebody might join on the same date, but employee numbers will always be distinct. That is what we know as primary key. So let me see if I can entertain questions now before I go ahead. We can't see your screen. Somebody is saying that, but I asked the other time that, can you see my screen? You said you can see my screen. Please, did you see my SQL Workbench screen that I just viewed now? Please answer. Can you see this screen? So I don't know then. Did you see the MySQL Workbench? MySQL Workbench. Yes. So people that cannot see, I don't know, because I could see it from here and I can view it. So if you cannot see the screen, I guess it's probably your I don't know, maybe your Teams or your network, because I can see that I can see what I'm sharing from here. Please, can I go back to the SQL installation process? Just watch it on the YouTube. I'm going to post the link. That's why I said just watch it on the YouTube. I will post the link. So people that cannot see, I don't know why you cannot see. I think people have responded to that. So I won't go back to that. Is MySQL and Progress SQL the same? Yeah, they are the same. It's just like for your phone, you have Android and you have iPhone. So you have, what's it called? You have iPhone 16 Pro Max. Somebody is using iPhone 16 Pro Max and somebody is using the latest Samsung. Are they not doing the same thing? Are they doing the same thing? Yes or no? They are doing the same thing because you can receive call, every app works on it. So it's just a platform to run your database. That is all. That's the only difference. That's the only difference. It's just like the difference between Samsung and iPhone. They all perform the same functions. That's why I said they are database management systems. They are all performing the same functions. That's what they do. Is it possible to install SQL in another SQL server name? No. I've told you two things you are going to install. You will install MySQL Workbench when you are continuing the installation, and you will also install my SQL Server. Those two things are very, very important. Can we use XAMPP? I didn't touch XAMPP here. XAMPP is if you want to upload the database through using XAMPP, but it's not part of the scope of this study. We are not uploading database using XAMPP. When you are talking about XAMPP, that's when you want to build the database from Python. You want to load the database from Python, but we are not loading database from Python. So all that concerns us is MySQL. I have Microsoft SQL. And the thing is, even if you don't want to install it, Oracle has a platform online and they have a database online that people can use. Oracle has it. They have a database online. They have a platform online that people can run database to practice. Oracle has it on the online, but you have to have a good network to be able to run it. If the database was in, no, the database should not be in XLS. You can see what I sent to the WhatsApp group is a SQL script to create a database. It's not in XLX. XLX is Excel. It's not a database. So what I sent there is a SQL script to create database, and I just showed you how you can upload it, and when you upload it, load it on the MySQL Workbench, and your database is ready. Yes, please watch it on YouTube because people can see it. Please, is it your employer or company will provide the script to use to read reports? No. The reason why we are loading the database, you already have a data, your company already have your database. And like I said, let me go back to, can we see my PowerPoint? Can we see this PowerPoint? If you can see, type yes. If you can see the PowerPoint, please type yes. Okay, perfect. Now, this is what most company uses. They use, in fact, most companies don't use MySQL because MySQL is not safe. It's not safe at all. They don't use MySQL at all. Most companies, they already have it set up. They have the My Progress SQL. In my own company, at the moment, we use my Microsoft SQL Server. Where I was working before, we were using Oracle database, and some other company uses SQLite. So, just like I've explained, just take this as phone manufacturers, and they perform the same functions. Samsung, Motorola, iPhone, Nokia, and stuff like that. I think Google is also making phones now. So it depends on what your company uses. So some company uses MySQL, some company uses, most company don't use MySQL because the database is not safe. So some company uses My Progress SQL, which is they will pay for the subscription to the company, and most company uses Microsoft SQL Server most of the time. Most companies, that's what they use because that one is easy and it is well secured. Then again, some company uses Oracle database. Oracle database is also secured, and some company also uses the SQLite. Like I said, it's just a product. It's just how they manage database. They are relational database management systems. The reason why I showed you how to load it is because if we don't have a database, then how do we practice? How do we query? So only MySQL is free for us to download online. So and when we download it online, we can create the database ourselves. So the script I told you to download, what I told you to download is a SQL script. Is a SQL script that I told you to download that we now created. I believe that you understand now. My question is, I have my company SQL Server laptop that I can use. Oh, I wouldn't advise that. Can I install another SQL on that same laptop? No, don't install it on that same laptop. Don't try it. Don't install it. Some of the scripts that I'm going to be teaching you, some of the SQL stuff that I'm going to be teaching you, you can always practice it. But I wouldn't even advise you to practice on a company laptop. I will not advise you to practice on a company laptop. It is not advisable for you to practice on a company laptop. I wouldn't say that you should practice on a company laptop. It's not advisable at all. Do we still have more questions? Or I quickly do a recap? Any more questions or reactions? I think I've covered most of the questions. So that is why it's needful that we watch the YouTube video. Like I said, go and watch the YouTube video. I will send it to the WhatsApp group, 24 to 48 hours. Please run through the installation again. I will run through it again if I have time. But I will send it to the WhatsApp group. I have SQL Server Management Studio 19. Well, if you have that, that is okay, and you know how to operate it. But for this class, I'm going to be using the MySQL Workbench. If you have that, that's fine. If you have the MySQL SQL Server Management Studio, that is fine. But for this class, I'm going to be using MySQL Workbench. And like I said, it is not case sensitive. So I'm going to send the YouTube video to the WhatsApp group, so you have to go and watch it on YouTube. It's not recording. I'll send the YouTube to the YouTube video. I'll send the YouTube video. Is there a documentation for SQL you could share with us online? Some of these documentation, you can see it. For SQL documentation, is kind of is online. If you type on Google SQL documentation, you will see it. But for example, like I said, that SQL is not case sensitive. If you use Progress SQL is case sensitive. The product of Progress SQL is case sensitive. Progress SQL is case sensitive. So it's just like you trying to do something on Android and iPhone doesn't take it. That's another difference. But all others are not case sensitive. And like I said, people don't really use Progress SQL. So if you are working in a company that uses Progress SQL, then you need to know that it is case sensitive. And it's because of the product you are using to run SQL on it. But if you are using Microsoft SQL Server, you are using Oracle database, you are using MySQL like we want to use, then it is not case sensitive. And if you don't know what case sensitive is, maybe you don't understand what I mean. What I mean by case sensitive is that I can decide to put this like this, and I will still get the same thing. That is, have capital letters like that, and I will still get the same thing. So it doesn't matter. I can decide to change the lettering. You can see that I'm still getting the same thing. It doesn't matter at all. Yeah, I'm still getting the same thing. Now you can see that I'm limiting what I'm supposed to, what is running, so that it will not run a lot. So here, if I want to limit it to 500, you will see that here it will change to 500. So let's rerun it. You can see down here. Can you see 500 rows return? Because if I say it should return everything, then probably we will not. If I say don't limit, then probably we will not. The query will not be fast, and we'll be having issues. Let me say limit to 10 rows, and let's run it again. You can see only 10 rows will be returned. Only 10 rows will be returned. And when you look at the employee number here, they are also distinct and unique. They are distinct and unique. Let me see if people are still asking questions before I do a recap. Please, my laptop went off immediately after the installation of SQL. At type and network. At the previous, how can I complete the installation, as I could not see the server base after the launch? Yeah, if your laptop went off immediately after the installation, what you can do is, at least you know where you downloaded, at least you know where you downloaded it. You know that place it was downloaded. So go to that place it was downloaded and try to rerun it again. So if it is there, it will overwrite what is there previously. It's going to overwrite it. It will overwrite it for you. So let me quickly do a rundown for what I have taught you today. So I define what a database is, and I told you that everywhere you either you are a student or you are a working class, there is always a database. You have your company has a database, your school has a database. And I said it's just a database is just used to store information such as the customer record, sales data, and the likes. And we look at some general terms, some general database terms, which is database management system, the schemas. I showed you schema the other time, which shows the tables and rows and columns. Instance, query, I discussed that. Then what a table is. So, for example, this is a table now. This is a table. This department is a table. Department EMP is a table. Department manager is a table. Employees is a table. Salary is a table. Title is a table. And these are schemas. The schemas is this employee. They are schemas. Then rows. So this completes a set of related entries in a table. A set of related entries in a table. Now, look at this row. This is a row. That is what a row is. So I think as I'm doing it like that, you are understanding it, even if what I was saying before you didn't understand. Then a column. A column is a set of pieces of data that a table can hold, representing one aspect of the data. So this is a column. We have the employee number, we have the title, we have the from date, we have the to date. Those are columns. Then primary key is a unique identifier for a record in a table. A row can also be called a record. Just like we have seen here, a row can also be called a record. So no two rows can have the same primary key. And I just showed you here. So for this place, the primary key here is employee number. And as you can see, no two rows has the same employee numbers. They are all different, as you can see. They are unique identifiers. Then foreign key is a column in one table that establishes the link between a primary key in a table and in another table. So representing a relationship between the table. Then also index, which is a database structure that improves the speed of data retrieval operation on a table at the cost of additional storage and maintenance. So then we talk about what is structured query language. I said it's just a language. It's a standard programming language specifically designed for managing, querying, and manipulating relational database. So SQL is only used for relational database. That is, it has to be related together. That is what relational database means. If you look at this department, the table, you will see that there was something that relates them together, and that is the primary key, which is the employee number is what relates them together. So if I say select depth N now, it will always show me the employee numbers. You can see all of them are all having employee number, but they are different tables. So SQL is only used for relational database. There has to be something that relates them together. It is gotten from the word relationship. There has to be something that relates them together. Then, so it allows users to interact with database by performing various actions such as retrieving. So for this course, for this basic, for the next 8 weeks, everything we are going to be doing will be retrieving. We are just going to be retrieving. So it's advanced that we'll be doing updating, inserting, and deleting. Because what we just did here is to retrieve all the tables, all the records in table department emp. And if I want to retrieve all the tables in salaries now, all I need to do is to press salary again. Now, for example, look at this now. There is no table as this. If I should run it, it's going to give me error because I didn't type salaries. I didn't type it correctly. So let's try to run it. You will see that it is going to give me an error. You can see it's not showing anything. So that's an error. So let me type it correctly. So you can see it has brought it out. So you have the employee number, you have the salary, you have the from date to date. Now, what this means, because some of you might want to ask that, oh, but this person is having, what's it called? This person is having the same, that this employee number is the same here. It's also the same person, but what happens here is that the person was moving. That is, the grade of this person was moving. So his salary was moving, and it is showing when the salary was also moving. So it's still the same person. you can see that the salary was increasing and increasing. So it's still the same person that has that employee number. So when we get to joining of tables, I think that should be week, I'm coming. That should be week 4. I will tell you how to join tables together, that it will tell us the previous salary and we can link all. So that's okay. That's week 4 and week 5. So I will tell you how we can link all these tables together, how we can join them together if we need any of the anything inside them that combines and want to combine both together. So let's run this again. So you can see we have the employee number, we have the department number. So, and here I talk about the RDBMS, that is the product in which you can use to run SQL. So I said SQL, MySQL is free, and that is why we are using it for this course. Then I said Progress SQL, Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle Database, SQLite. So you start from here. When you get here, you go to, you download it. When you download it, click on Installer for Windows. When you get here, download it, install, start my download, yes. Then custom. So when you get to custom here, then you select your product. So when you select your product, you have to pick MySQL Workbench and pick my SQL Server. You have to pick both. So when you pick both, it will take you here. And when it takes you here, just look at it very well. All the things I filled here, click on next, then use strong password, click on next, then click the password and press OK, then press next, execute, next, and finish. And you can press your password here and it will lead you to this page, which is the MySQL Workbench. So let me have a look if we have further questions. So in case there is no question again, do we still have anybody that have any question? Any question before we round up the class? All right, so in case of no question, so next week we are going to be learning how often do you use SQL in your work? That's a personal question. It depends. It depends. How often do you use SQL in your work? Like, it depends on if that's a personal question. I won't answer that. For if you are applying for a role, they will tell you whether they need you to have SQL knowledge. So if they tell you that you should have a SQL knowledge, then obviously you need to have a SQL knowledge. And they will test it. They will test your SQL knowledge. In my former role, part of the test I did was SQL. I did a SQL test before I got the job. So my question is, how do we generate the scripts? The scripts, I've already given you to download it. And when you download it, just open the MySQL and go to File, Open SQL Scripts, and click on this. When you click on it, open. When you open it, it will open the script for you, then execute. Come here and execute it, and it will be executed for you. I think most questions will be answered when you. So, sir, if the company asks us to create those tables, how do we create them without importing? Yeah, if they ask you to create a table, yes, they will ask you to. They can ask you to insert tables. They can ask you to create tables. They can even ask you to create views. So that is advanced and is not part of what I will be teaching in this course. So that is advanced, and that is but all the retrieving, joining of tables, we are going to treat every of those 100%. We are going to treat that. So that is advanced SQL, where you can create stored procedures, create common table expressions, and the likes. 1x. I don't understand that 1x. The person that typed it, I don't understand that question. So in the absence of no question, I believe that we can Okay, thank you. I believe that we can call it a day. If you understand everything that I've done, just give me a shout out. You can just give a reaction. And even if you don't understand, don't worry. Just go to YouTube and watch the video again and try to download it. If you go to Oracle, if you don't want to, I don't understand though, don't worry, just go to YouTube. Go and rewatch. Go and rewatch it on YouTube. I'll post the video within yes, it will play again on YouTube. Why not? Please, can you please show us how you uploaded the script? I have showed you now. Go to the MySQL workbench, open file, open scripts, open this, and click on open. When you click on open, this is it. Then you run it. And after it has been run, come back to schema here and refresh. That's all. Don't worry, just go and watch it on YouTube. Can we download this workbench on Mac directly? I think so. But for Mac, for Mac, I would suggest that I'm not sure that it works perfectly because it's a Microsoft product. I'm not sure that it works perfectly. But what I've used on Mac is I've used Oracle, the online Oracle database. There's an online Oracle database that you can, and there's an interface of Oracle that you can use to run SQL online with Oracle on MacBook. So that's what I've used on MacBook before. So I'm not sure that is going to work with MacBook because MySQL Workbench is I know that some people use it with Docker and stuff like that, but that could be a long process. I know some people use Docker on MacBook. That is the spelling for the Docker. You can research more about it. But the best thing is to run it on Oracle online. But you have to have a good online client. You have to have a good network to be able to run the database. And you can also see the schema, you can see the table you want to run on Oracle. So with that, we come to the end of this class. Do I have anybody asking any other question again? All right, so we come to the end of this class. So see you next week, Sunday. So next week, we will be talking about how we can filter data, how we can sort data. So we are going to be using logical operators such as equal to, greater than, less than, and we'll be sorting data either by descending order or ascending order. So here, what I mean by that is that, so I can say select star where employee number equals to so and so, or where the date is equals to so and so. So that is what we'll be talking about next week. And we can sort either in descending order or in ascending order. So thank you for your time. Thank you for joining the class. See you next week. Bye for now.